You are listening to Business Heroine Radio for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine, and we have a wonderful, fantastic guest with us today, Alison Edelstein. And Alison is the creator of Chirpy Chatterbox, which is an educational company that provides quick and effective tips on fostering early language development for young ones through music, laughter, and play. Alison is a speech language pathologist, a mama of 2 girls, right now ages 2 and 6, a wife, and a lover of all things music, and a total goofball. I can vouch for that because I know her personally. She created Chirpy Chatterbox to encourage her fellow parents and herself to love, laugh, and learn every day. Alison, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, especially because I have just had the profound privilege to witness you birth this company into the world. It's so awesome. Will you share with us just your story of how you ended up creating this business, Chirpy Chatterbox?
Sure. So it really started when I was a child myself, and I have always loved children and working with children and being around children, and even as a child. And I've just always known that that was my calling, was to do work with children. And I've always loved learning through music and through play and fun. And that's kind of how I learned the best when I was younger. And I always sang, and I would make up songs to learn things. And so that kind of stuck with me. And then I kind of, when I went to school, went, how do I mesh all these things I love together and pursue this? And so I started out with my undergrad in family therapy, because I thought, okay, I'll work with families and I'll teach them how to, work together and play together and be happy. And so I got my undergrad in family therapy. And then after school, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So I kind of shifted modes, and I started working with young children with autism, and I just loved it. And every child was so special and so unique. And it was a fun challenge to really see, what motivated every child, and to work with their strengths, and just to, come at it from a fun play-based angle. And one time I witnessed a speech session, and I went, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. And so I went to grad school and became a speech pathologist. And then, once I became a mom myself, I realized it's really overwhelming to be a parent right now. And of course, in every day and age, it probably was in different ways. But right now, it's kind of information overload. And I found myself as a parent reading all these books and studying up on all these different things and trying to be the best parent. And then I realized the best, when I'm at my best as a parent, it's when I'm in those simple moments and I'm connected with my child and we're having fun and we're both doing things we love. And that's kind of where Chirpy Chatterbox was born. It was born out of inspiration from my kids and just seeing other parents feel stressed out about teaching their kids, and just kind of wanting to provide parents with resources on early learning and early communication that were fun and playful and straightforward, and just knowing that they don't have to be overwhelmed and stressed out to be their child's best teacher.
That is so awesome. I love that story. And I love that it's kind of full circled from when you were a child. And it's like, yep, all along I knew that as a kid, that's how I like to learn. And that actually works, laughing and having fun and singing and all of that stuff. And, what's really inspiring about listening to your story is that, a lot of business heroines out there, a lot of women who are soul fueled and building their own business based on their passion, a lot of times it comes from a challenge that they've experienced in their life. And I'm an example of that. And then there's sometimes where there's just something that's just pure wisdom that you've known from the beginning, and it's always been there. And there's sort of just these seedlings and these threads. And it's like, I don't know, it's just beautiful. That feels like your story to me.
Definitely. And I think as a child, I really had things figured out. And then as, as you get older and you go through all these experiences, the world sometimes kind of puts you in a box and makes you feel like, okay, I have to follow, from A, B to C. I can't veer off the path. And I think once I had my own kids and it kind of like gave me a realization that they have it all figured out. And I need to get back to that inner child and just kind of say, what brings me joy and what can I do to serve others that's also fun for me and teaches other people to have fun and just be in the moment. And so, yeah, it is. It really, I think that's another huge part of the whole Chirpy Chatterbox website and brand and company is that, we can learn from our children because they are so wise in so many ways. And so it's just that back and forth dynamic between a parent and a child. And even if you don't have children, I mean, even before I had children, I definitely had a lot of that in me, but I think a lot of it was kind of dormant, and I had moments of that playful, fun, time. And then I kind of tried to shut it down. And I think if you figure that out before you even have kids, that's even more amazing to me if you can get there, because it's just, that's where the magic is,
Yeah. So brilliant. And, I want to talk about some of the, learnings that you've had in your entrepreneurial journey, but I really first want to talk more about your philosophy around Chirpy Chatterbox, because I know that you have an approach that is really refreshing and really fresh. And so for those mamapreneurs out there listening, I really just, I don't know, I want to hear your philosophy and the Chirpy Chatterbox way of helping kids to learn, and like tell us exactly what you do and the approach that you do that's a little different than how other folks are approaching it out there.
Well, I think, there's so many different methods out there and there's so much research and there's a lot of great ways to approach things. I think my main message is that for every individual child and family, you have to do what works best. And so a supervisor that I had in grad school really inspired me because she showed me how to really follow a child's motivation. And that's a huge part of what I like to do. And so, a long time ago with education, I think there was more, and still sometimes there's more of the drilling and the kind of just kind of more forced learning. And I think there's so many amazing educators now starting to really look at, okay, we can educate in a way that's not just by the book. It's also you tapping into all your senses. It's being playful and having fun. And of course, learning isn't going to be fun every single moment. But I think if we can try to find what motivates a child and what makes them happy and kind of teach them from that point on, I think that's more memorable and more meaningful. And so I think I just have learned as a parent and as a therapist that it's okay to focus on the fun and to really tap into joyful moments and build from there.
That makes me so happy. And me being the, business geek that I am, I'm hearing this through the entrepreneur lens. Right now, something that is a big topic of conversation for business owners is being able to create business from that same state of flow and joy and, instead of the forcing, driving, work yourself into the ground way that we've sort of been taught. And so as I'm hearing you share this, I'm like, ooh, this is sort of like early intervention of just how to do life. Like it's like how you shared at the beginning as a kid, you knew this to, laugh and have fun and sing. And then at some point that kind of went away. And I mean, maybe it's society, like we're taught it sort of becomes irresponsible at some point, or who knows. And then there becomes this societal habit of sort of taking life very seriously and taking our work very seriously. And what if we could just have that play and that joy be part of it all along? And what if that just straight up works better and we can carry that into adulthood with us?
I love that. And a lot of that I've learned from you, from working with you and as my mentor and in Business Heroine Academy. And I think I really had to plug back into that place for myself before I could share that message with parents and their children, because I think I started to get too serious and too, and I think it's hard because I everything I do, I put all my effort into, and I pour my heart and soul into it. Mm-hmm. And so I think before I thought, well, if you do that, then it has to be serious in order for people to look at it as valuable. But then I realized that's not the case. And I think when you are doing things from a place of joy, then you can share that message a lot easier. And that's kind of something I've learned over the last year or so, which is really exciting, this whole new way of doing business.
That's awesome. And you totally embody it. I want to share with everybody listening that Alison has created this really fun parody video, which tell us about it, Alison.
Okay, so on my blog, it's not just about early communication. It's also about fun and parenting and kind of laughing at our parenting journey, just because there, in anyone's life, I think if you are serious all the time, then, you can be serious, but for me, the more I laugh at things, the better I feel, and the more I can ease through those trickier moments. And one of those tricky things for me is keeping my house clean. And so I was inspired by the song Let It Go to create a parody called Let It Go, Can't Clean It Up Anymore, because sometimes I just have to accept the mess and let it go. And, when my older daughter was young, I would come home and I would be working all day, and I would clean everything and clean her toys and straighten everything. And I just felt drained and stressed out. And now with my second one, there are times where I do that and where I'll organize everything. But there's some days where I got to take care of myself and my kids, and cleaning up is going to exhaust me, and it's just going to get messy again probably in 5 minutes, So it's kind of laughing at, like, okay, sometimes we just have to accept that life is messy, our house is messy, and that's okay. Totally. And I also love to sing and perform, so.
And you're so cute. I'm gonna see if we can get that video embedded into the article here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys need to see it. My favorite part is when you're like the handle of the door is shaking and you're like trying to lock yourself in the room away from like the family that's about to come mess it up. It was really cute. It's
so true, because when you're cleaning up with kids at home, it's basically like you're putting one thing in and then they're taking another out. So you have to do it if you really want to clean, you have to hide or have them involved.
Lock doors behind you and
exactly.
That's cute. Well, thank you for what you said about Business Heroine Academy and working with me. It makes me really happy that you found some sort of joy flow of doing business through that. I would love to hear, I had the opportunity to work with Alison, as you just mentioned, and I have to say, I'm so impressed by you and just in awe of you, because it's like my favorite thing ever to watch somebody go from having a business idea and now their business exists. And I got to see that with you. It's like it was in the etheric realm, up in your imagination, and now it is physically in the world. I would love to hear any tips you have and, I don't know, lessons you've learned for new and emerging entrepreneurs who have that seed of an idea in their mind, who are wanting to bring something forth. Like, what have been some of your biggest ahas in that journey that might help the other heroines listening?
That's a really good question. I'm not just saying this, but my first aha moment was when I talked to you for the first time, and you basically gave me permission to follow my dream. And I kind of was not allowing myself to even entertain that thought. And I've had so many ideas over the years, but it was like, I don't know. I needed someone to kind of unlock that idea that anything is possible, And so I think, literally our 15-minute consult we had before we worked together, that really sparked, didn't spark my idea, but it let me know that I'm safe to pursue my idea. And so I think the first tip I would say is get a mentor and have somebody who has been through it and can walk you through it and give you tips and hold your hand. And, because it is an emotional journey to go from having an idea to trying to make it a reality, especially if it's a big idea, which often it is, I think. So that's the first one for sure.
That's awesome. And in addition to getting a mentor, what I'm also hearing in there is get a permission slip, whether it comes from a mentor or not. It's like, being around other people who are going for it, being around other people who are doing it, who are speaking the language of this thing is possible, so I'm taking the actions. So that could be even as simple as being in, a Facebook group of people who are going there, or having an accountability partner, or having a mastermind group, or I don't know. Do you agree with that, Alison?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I think it's been really cool to connect with different people online and to join groups. And it's like you can find, kind of a support system, because I don't have a lot of people that are doing the same thing, that are my friends that live near me. But I have all these great friends that I've made connections with online who have really supported me and helped me. And hopefully I've done the same for them. And I think, just having people around you that support your dream and who, can help you. And I don't know, I just feel like I've gained so much knowledge from even short conversations with people. I think that's a huge thing. Like you said, that, sometimes you need someone else to give you that permission slip if you're holding yourself back. So relationships, I think, are huge for that, and friendships with other entrepreneurs, for sure.
Totally. So huge. That was one of my biggest breakthroughs for myself too, was like, I mean, you can only have so many thoughts when you're in your own head and, in your own space. And, and the doubt of the sort of mainstream society that does things differently can seep in there, and we can then adopt it for our own. And so it's really important to be around the conversation of possibility. So, Alison, I'm curious if you would share with us, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but if you would share with us, I don't know, a time in your journey with getting Chirpy Chatterbox off the ground where you struggled, or kind of like hit a pitfall, or, one of those hard times, and what you did to get through it and come through on the other side. Does anything come to mind?
I think there's been a lot of rough patches, and I think the biggest one was probably last summer when I was kind of first getting started on things, and my 2-year-old started having breath holding spells. So she would just basically, if she was startled or hurt herself, she would just pass out. And it scared the crap out of me. And so, I had just kind of started to blossom in my idea and putting it forward. And then this happened with my daughter. And so I just kind of felt like, okay, what do I do? Do I completely put it on the back burner and solely focus on my daughter? Or can I can I still move the business forward a little bit and support my daughter? And so it was a really stressful time. And I was just so worried about her that I think the times I did work on business things, I probably should have just put it on pause, I think, for a little while, because I was just coming from a place of stress and anxiety. And, so I think, really the only thing there's a couple of things that helped me with that. Number one was time, kind of as I got used to the situation and as my daughter improved, and, and luckily it's not a severe health issue. And so once I found that out, it was a big relief, and things got a lot easier. But, I think having your support, having my husband's support, talking to people, and just not, like you said, not staying in my head, I think that was the best thing, because I think if I would have just held it in, it wouldn't have been good for my family, for me, or for my business. And so I think talking about it, and then also, I probably could have put less pressure on myself to keep moving the business forward, and just kind of let it be easy, and not push myself in the stressful times, I think,
That's really, really wise. And it reminds me of this quote that I'll probably butcher. I've seen it phrased different ways, but I think it was Bill Gates. And it was something like, we often overestimate what we can accomplish in a week, but we underestimate what we can accomplish in 10 years. And so when you're saying that, it's almost like your parody of the doing laundry. Like sometimes our own business can feel like there's just so much, and how do we keep up? And then it's like, if we're approaching our business every day with a feeling of guilt with what we're not getting done, it's almost like a waste of energy and time, because the thing is, you'll look back a year later and you'll go, holy crap, a lot just happened. It's like you take one step a day, every little step in the direction of your dream. And one day you wake up and you realize it's not a dream, but that's how it happens, is in those little steps. It's not like you can power through. It's just like brushing your teeth. It's not like you can go 5 years without brushing your teeth and then spend 24 hours brushing your teeth straight. Like, it doesn't work like that, right?
Totally.
So, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's because it's so important to keep that life in perspective. It's not just about working, and that's just very in line with your, really the approach of Chirpy Chatterbox, the love, laugh, and learn.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, let's just...
I think I've kind of grown, in the project and in the business, I think I've been able to include more laughter and play myself. I think I started to get serious again. And then I went, wait a minute, that's not the point, it's supposed to be fun. And, like I said, not every moment is going to be fun, but a lot of moments can be. And so I think that's my focus now, is coming from the place that I want other people to be in, and coming from that joyful place. And so, I think taking the pressure off myself is a huge thing, and just letting things happen and not pushing, that's been huge.
Yeah, it is huge. I have to just share on a personal note, this is so timely, because this morning I had very similar thoughts. Like, I kind of woke up feeling, like victim to the to-do list, and I was like, what I'm going to do instead is I am going to play, because I have a cool life. I love my life. I built this life on purpose. And so why would I then now act as if like I'm some sort of prisoner to my life? Like, so I decided, I was like, on my errands, I'm going to play fancy businesswoman, and I'm going to go to the bank and sign my very important papers. And then I'm going to go and type on my emails and, just kind of like a little kid playing grocery store or something.
I love it.
So I want to hear from you about like the ideal person for Chirpy Chatterbox. Like, who are the moms that are a good match for what you provide? Moms or dads and kids, all of that.
I mean, I really see it as being anyone who's around young kids a lot and wants to learn and grow with their kids. And so it could be mom, dad, grandma, even a nanny or caregiver, and also other people in the speech industry, speech pathologists, or, even teachers. I think, a lot of different people could benefit from the information, because it's very practical and it's very down to earth, and it's just everything that all the information is something that you can do. So it's all actionable. It's just very to the point. So I think a lot of different people can benefit from it.
And so it's not necessarily for parents of kids with a quote unquote learning disability. It's for parents who want to have their kid to learn with their kids and connect and bond with their kids as they're learning language. Is that
exactly
accurate?
Yeah. And I think the way that I've created the ebooks and a lot of the information is so that it could lend itself to a wide range of ages, ability levels. So it's, really, it's definitely, I think the main thing that I'm passionate about is educating parents very early on so that you can start doing things from birth on. And so I think that's, if you start there and you go and you build from there, then you're golden, So I think even if you start later, it's not a big deal, but the earlier you start having that reciprocal interaction with your baby, no matter, if you're the mom, the dad, the grandma, the better. And so, because their brain is wiring so fast for language, and, it's just important to give them that meaningful input from early on.
Yeah. And so speaking of that, I would just love to hear, like, what are some of the biggest benefits that parents experience when going the Chirpy Chatterbox route, and also that the little ones experience? Like, what are the noticeable benefits that they experience in their lives when doing this together?
I mean, I think the first one for parents is letting go of a lot of guilt and realizing that they're doing a lot of things right. And so that's a huge message I have for parents is, obviously there are some parents that probably need more support, but there's a lot of parents that are amazing parents. I have so many friends who ask me questions about their little one's development and what they can do. And they are so upset and they feel like they've done something wrong. And the first thing I say to them is, you are doing so many amazing things and nobody's perfect. And, we're all just learning as we go as parents, and everyone has their strengths and areas that are harder, just as our kids are. They have areas that are harder and areas that are easier. And so I think just accepting who you are as a parent and who your child is and building upon their strengths. I think that's often a relief that for parents that they can do that instead of just focusing on the weaknesses or the difficult areas. And then I think also just inviting parents to be more playful alongside their children is something that really makes them happy. And I see them just, it's not only play, but it's learning kind of hidden in play. And I think it makes them feel more confident as a parent, and just, knowing that they can have an impact in a fun way is really exciting. And then for the kids, I think a huge thing is for them to really feel heard and to feel like they have space to communicate. And, even myself as a parent, sometimes we're rushing through things or we're busy, and, we might forget to listen to our kids a lot of the time. And I think, as much as talking to our kids is important, listening is really important too. And so I think that's a huge message that I have, is that when we simply listen to our child from a very, very young age, as well as talking to them, and we have that back and forth interaction, that's really powerful for not only for the parent, but for the child. Communication is power. And so it's giving them that space to learn how to communicate. Now, when they're a baby, are they going to be speaking in full sentences back? No, of course not. But communication starts as smiling, as cooing, as moving their arms and legs and gesturing. And, communication is so much more than just talking. And so I think when parents realize, oh my gosh, there's so much more going on in that little brain than I realized, it's kind of exciting. And I think, for the child, that's exciting as well, because they're going to be heard and listened to.
I love that. Yeah, one of my favorite things about you and your approach is it's not just about learning for the sake of, accelerated learning and being the smartest or whatever. It's about really confidence on both sides, the parents and the kids, and like connection that's deeper, that you might not expect that can happen through these particular interactions. It's really cool. It's just like this creates this awesome bonding between parents and kids while creating this, really awesome learning environment. And so anyway, I admire that. I think you're great.
Thank you. Very much.
Yeah. So tell us the mompreneurs and the parents out there, how can they, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you? Because I know you have a private practice, you have the digital ebooks, and there's some other ways to work with you. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way is either through our contact page on the website, or just emailing me directly at info@chirpychatterbox.com. And I love to connect with people and answer questions and just hear people's feedback and what, the things that they're struggling with, and provide support. So I'm always there.
Awesome. You are awesome. So great. Well, Alison, any last words of wisdom for our business heroines out there who are wanting to bring their own dream to life, as you have done with Chirpy Chatterbox?
I would say trust yourself and follow your heart.
Perfect. Well, Alison, thank you so much for joining us. It is such a privilege to feature you in Business Hero Magazine, and I'm just so impressed with everything you're doing out there, and you're just awesome. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Anne, and thank you for the impact that you've had on me and others in the business world, too.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you, heroines, for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
You have been listening to Business Heroine Radio for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.